Hello, everyone. We had a chance to talk a little bit about the weather. I hope the sun is shining where you are. Um, it is not here today, but that is okay. It's always shining when we're all together. One of the impetuses for today, you're of course joining the Baker and Taylor webinar series, and this one is about Storytime, as it is springtime, and you might be thinking about a rebirth for your Storytime programming, maybe even getting outside and doing it, or maybe you're in the throes of summer reading planning and you just want some info on new books to consider for your story times or some new ideas for engagement and activity. That's really what today is about. And it's also about us learning about how we can help support you more with Storytime initiatives. We have a survey link at the end that we would really appreciate if everyone would take the time to fill out. It's 3 questions, and it's really just to help us figure out what we at Baker and Taylor can do to help you with Storytime. So in case we haven't met before, my name is Bobbie Bensur, and I am one of the 5 members of the Children's and Teen Services Division at Baker and Taylor. I am joined by my lovely colleagues, Sara Shepard and Grace Larochelle, both librarians who spent decade and plus each in libraries before they came over to Baker and Taylor, both in youth services, and they did everything from branch management, collection development, and programming like Storytime. So they're great resources. These are their emails. So I encourage you to jot them down and just use us. Whenever you need support, we're here for you. And that too is our website, cats@baker-taylor.com. This is a little catch-all of everything we do in children's and teen services, but today we are talking about Storytime solutions. We all love Storytime. Obviously, we could see from the chat that there's nothing like picture books. We all love picture books. We all love Storytime and sharing them. It cultivates a love for reading and learning, builds bonds and community, improves language skills, and unleashes creative play in young children. But we all know that you guys are strapped for time, doing a ton of things, and that maybe some of you aren't, are a little bit removed from collection development, and you're more frontline day-to-day programmers, and so you may be kind of going to the same books and need suggestions for new reads or just suggestions on how to create more engagement or do make things fun and fresh. So that's really what our hope is today, is to give you just a couple tidbits and learn from you as well. So again, the chat is open. So please, it is a sharing forum. Before we get started, do we happen to have Malik joining? Is Malik here? I know he had to hop off, but he was going to hop back on. Is Malik here? There he is. Hi, Malik. So we are lucky enough. We thought it would be kind of fun to this half an hour to kind of have a few different authors from Baker and Taylor's new publishing imprint, Paw Prints Publishing, to share some of read-alongs of theirs. And so in the spirit of sharing new books that you may not be familiar with, we have a few authors here today. So to kick things off, we're going to have Malik 16 read I Grab the Mic. Malik, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to page through, but he is holding up his book. And you are on mute, sir, in case you want to. There you go. All right.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish.
Yeah, to stop talking, which is rare. Just kidding. Go ahead, Malik, if you want to introduce yourself in the book, and we'll get started.
Okay. So this is I Grab the Mic. As Bobbie pointed out, it is one of the early releases from the Paw Prints official launch. And this particular book deals with stage fright and performance anxiety. And it's from the vantage point of kids. So it deals with a lot of imagination. And I always point out, it starts off with them imagining all the worst things that could possibly happen, and then all the best things that could possibly happen. So I'm going to try to read it. I've been told it's written in a more spoken word, non-traditional rhyming style, but it's rhyme. Rhyme is kind of my thing. So let's hear it in the voice of the writer, right? I'm going to try to flip through it. As I go, the dedication page says for anyone who outgrew whatever made them feel too small. Okay. And yes, I'm doing this from the magical world of the car. And I don't know how it looks on the screen. I think I had it at a good angle. Okay. Just want to give a little acknowledgement to my illustrator, Paige Mason. She's amazing. And here we go. I grab the mic from the top of the stand. I grab the mic and sweat fills my hands. A lump blocks my throat as if I swallowed the entire Big Apple. I grab the mic and hear a pop followed by a crackle. I grab the mic and I'm instantly blinded by lights. I grab the mic and hope what I say comes out right. But my jaw becomes tight, sorry. My tongue starts a fight. Like my mouth is a ring and it's me versus Mike. I don't know if you can see, we have a little Mike Tyson character there. It's like the Mike with the Mike Tyson tattoo. The main event, but I might daydream that the exit sign's bright enough to beam me over the audience so I can take flight. Oh my gosh. Or maybe I'd find new heights on 20-foot stilts to hike and easily walk over the crowd before they could say goodnight. Or an even better escape to become invisible and slight and fade to black, as they say on stage, and then vanish out of sight. But why? My lip I bite? What has me so uptight? Don't I have the right to recite these words I write? Shouldn't tonight excite and not be so impolite? The grown-ups told me a word for this feeling. It's called stage fright. First they suggest that I try not to care, but I worry too much how I appear. Well, I've even heard them say, picture everyone in their underwear. But that just seems gross and rude. Think of people almost nude or in their chairs glued. The thought alone makes me even more scared. So I try with all my might to ignore the sounds of doubt. I grab the mic and my first words come out. Ahem, is this thing on? Can you hear me out there? I grab the mic and remember why I'm here. I grab the mic and it all seems quite clear. I grab the mic and say goodbye to fear. So this is our turning point. I grab the mic and become something great. I grab the mic and I'm captain of the debate. I grab the mic at the spelling bee and put the bees in a spell. In a daze, from every correct phrase, they buzzed, all because I did so well. I grabbed the mic and sang, not just sing. Every note seems to float like my voice gave them wings. Sorry if I'm holding this terribly. I grabbed the mic and I'm a judge, so they listen. All ears patiently waiting as I announce my decision. I grab the mic and detail the whole sport. I'm a sportscaster shouting, go faster on the track, instant replay on the court. I grab the mic and I'm the one that you clap for. My album's #1 on the charts. I'm your new favorite rapper. I grab the mic to get the latest scoop. A good reporter is always first with major news. I grab the mic to announce a scientific breakthrough. I have found the chemical compound, designed the program and gone to space, too. I grab the mic, then motivate and inspire. I speak in marches and small rooms, why I may even preach to the choir. I grab the mic and thank everyone for nominating me and for this award that I've won. I grab the mic and do a president's best to deliver my State of the Union address. I grab the mic and can become any one of them. There's another word the grown-ups taught me, and that word is confidence. Anytime you hear that whisper behind the microphone telling you to run from it, remind yourself of the reason why you're standing in front with it. I grab the mic and can become anything I imagine. Being nervous is fine as long as you learn to get past it. Once you do, it's all magic. I don't know if that page is showing. Poof! The crowd turns into a sea of friends. And now I grab the mic and hope to never see it end. Mic drop. It says, but please don't drop the mic in real life.
Thank you, Malik. But what's funny is I think a great way to incorporate this into story time is to take the coloring sheet we created with the microphone, and that all kids can do that, and then they can really drop the mic, right? So,
yes.
Yes. So, thank you so much for joining us today. And we will move forward with our rep picks. And thank you for all your chats. We'll make sure you see them, Malik.
Okay, I will look at them as I mute myself again. Thank you for having me. And thank you for, someone said they love that book. So thank you so much. I was cracking up because there was another book that someone said they didn't want to read, but. All right, everyone have a good day.
Thanks, Malik. All right, so we just have a few rep picks from Grace, Sara, and I will say that we have some selection lists that we built that will show you where you can find them. We're going to be updating them every couple of months with new Storytime books thematically for you. And I'm going to turn things over to Grace to get started.
Thanks, Bobbie. So like Bobbie said about Sara and I both, we were librarians for 10 plus years before coming to Baker and Taylor. And so I love talking about story time because it was always so much fun. And a few of my favorite books that I'll just go over really quickly. Press Here. I know it's a classic, but I'm sure we have folks on here who are newer to librarianship. Maybe this isn't one you've used in a while. It's always good to see oldies but goodies, I think. And Press Here is one I used to use when I did kind of a movement story time, which I'll talk about a little bit later in brief. But it's great if you have a smaller crowd, especially to have the kids come up and actually press on the book. Those 2 to 3-year-olds all want to push it. So it's really fun to have them interact with the book. So I always loved using this when you really wanted to engage the kids. Bunso Meets a Mumu by Rev Valdez is one of our Paw Prints Publishing books that I just adore. It's fantastic. It would be great for a bedtime story time, which I'll talk about a little bit later as well. I absolutely love this for getting over fears. And also it's a Kirkus starred review book. So I'd like to little shout out to Kirkus there. And one of the last ones that I really love to use, I always like to use books in story time, or I did, when you can use books where everybody can sing along, especially if you take it really, really slow in singing so that everyone can participate. I know sometimes you got to kind of pull the parents to sing along with you in story time. And this one, a lot of people know the words already. So it's super easy to engage everyone in your story time when you can allow them to sing with you.
Thanks, Grace.
Yeah.
On to Sara.
Okay, so my 3 picks. So the first one is the Eco Family book. This is one of our Paw Prints Publishing titles. It's got a really great kind of rhyming cadence to it. It shares 30 different ways that kids can help the planet. So it's a great pick if you're using the I Read theme this summer. It would be great for a story time. And one of the things I particularly love about it is it has 3 spreads. that are dedicated to the library and how that kind of is, being eco-friendly, like checking out books, going to Storytime, and doing fun crafts at the library. So I love that there's so much library representation in there. My second pick is The Animal Boogie. This one's a little bit older, and this one is from Barefoot Books. What's great about this one in particular is they have a song on YouTube where, it invites kids to get up and dance. And I'm just going to put it in the chat, the link to the YouTube video. So that one's really fun. And then my third pick is The Very Hungry Caterpillar's Rainbow Colors. This one is a board book, so it would be great for baby story time. And, it features everybody's favorite caterpillar, and looking at different colors of the rainbow, red, and then there are different things that are red and they're all labeled. So it's a kind of a point and say book, but goes through all the colors of the rainbow. Those are my three.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, I will end this segment by sharing my three titles. The first is the first in a series called The Museum Lives in Me, Miss Imoni's Class of Wildfires. We talked, some of the books we just saw are definitely for like the toddlers and the younger set. This is definitely a little bit older, perhaps like Malik's that he just shared, like maybe if you have a story time for 6 and up. This is about a classroom of children and their teacher who go to explore the art museum and discover character traits about themselves by identifying with the art around them. It's really a book about empowerment, and it's really captivating. Someone I showed it to likened it to the art that you would see in the new Marvel universe that's out there that's streaming now. So it's definitely a feast for the eyes. And if you're looking for any sort of programming involving an art activity or celebrating art, this August is Art Appreciation Month. I know the CSLP summer reading theme next year is all art centric. So this is just a new title out there in the world that is just a little bit different and for slightly older kids. We also have available to you through CATS a wealth of PDFs, activity sheets, and things that you could use. And we do have one for this book where kids can kind of make their own piece of art, their own portrait in tandem with reading this book. So the second book is in dedication to my daughter, Imogen. She's 3, and this is her absolute favorite book in the entire world. Many of you are probably familiar with Luke Flowers. He's been out there for a long time, and this book is a couple years old. It's from Source Books. But a lot of the times when I talk to librarians or booksellers or other folks in the book industry for kids, they know Unicorn Day, but they don't know Mermaid Day. And I just got to give a shout out to mermaids. I mean, it's, again, a feast for the eyes. It's a rhyming book. It's just, there's so much detail. And so the little ones will definitely just love for you to read this book. And obviously there's a wealth of things you can do with the mermaid theme as well. And then lastly, this one is like a dedication to myself, or my younger self, the child within. I'm a big Fraggle fan. Any Fraggle Rock fans out there? You could put it in the chat. Not sure if you knew, but there's a reboot for the show called Back to the Rock on Apple TV. And also there's going to be a documentary about Jim Henson this year sometime. And so, the Fraggle universe is back. Obviously, parents who are my age or, in that millennial Gen Xer generation love the Fraggles. And there is a Storytime book that's publishing early next month about Gobo, and it's the pilot for this new reboot. And what's great about it is that it's adventure themed. So if any of you are doing this, glomming onto the CSLP theme this year of adventure at your library, it's just a natural title to add to your Storytime series. Before we move on to our next section, I just wanted to share where you can find the selection list that we're curating on the regular for you that are all Storytime centric. If you go to Title Source 360, which is our ordering platform, you will find them under Browse Selection List Children's and Teens under this header Storytime Solutions. And again, we've organized them by theme, and our collection development librarian on staff, Deanna, we'll be regularly updating them. These are all more focused on newer releases. So books that have come out within the past 2 years and forward 6 months, well reviewed, and again by theme. And if you don't have a Title Source 360 ID, if that's something that has historically been something that perhaps you're not in collection development, we can hook you up with one, just for and not put, purchasing parameters on it. It would just be for you to use to get this stuff, right? So that would be something for you to reach out to Grace or Sara about. Grace, I think there was something you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, just that if you're using our selection lists and you're looking for something specific, you can always reach out to Sara and I. If what you're looking for isn't in these selection lists, just send us an email. Like we've said, we've been collection development librarians ourselves for many years. And so we're always happy to put together some lists for you that might be helpful with whatever you're planning. Or if you don't have time because you are programming all the time, we get that and we're here to help you.
That's great. We are going to move on to Britt Gandolfi, who is one of the newer Paw Prints Publishing authors. Her book, Look Up, Fontaine the Pigeon Starts a Revolution, is publishing at the end of April. And I saw some in the chat earlier, someone said that one of their favorite Storytime reads was the Lorax. And I always say that this is like, this book does what the Lorax did, but for today's generation. It is a funny cautionary tale. And we are all here because we love kid literature and we love literacy and learning, and we love the feel of a picture book and finding balance between books and screen time. And really, this book is about that. And in case you weren't familiar, there is a national movement called Screen Free Week that happens in May. It is May 6th through 12th this year. And so we thought it'd be appropriate to share it in case you wanted to do a fun story time for that, to advocate for reading versus screen. So take it away, Britt.
Hey, y'all. I was glad to have Malik's book go first because I was really nervous. I'm a first-time author, and this is something I wrote a while ago, and it feels like it's more needed now than when I wrote it 6 years ago. So it's an honor to be able to read it to you today. So it's called Look Up, Fontaine the Pigeon Starts a Revolution. It's set in New Orleans. Everyone was looking down. All around, faces faced the ground. People tried to look up, but when they did, ring, ding, buzz, their heads got stuck. The birds would watch from up above, wondering what happened to the world they loved. Until one pigeon, Fontaine, got so tired of all the insanity, he dreamed up all the ways he could wake up humanity. I can't do this alone, he finally realized. I've got to educate, co-create, organize. So he turned to the pigeons and said, "The situation is poo." In all seriousness, he's right. Yes, I feel sorry for them. Then they gathered all the birds to discuss what to do. And it's ominously lightning at my home right now. So the internet goes out. We have to do something. It's got to be clever. And no matter what happens, we're all in this together. I know the timing with the thunder frightened me as well. And so it was decided, after talking all night, to do something drastic. The birds felt it'd be right. That each time one of them saw a screen, they all let loose a natural stream. And someone's accidentally had a, good luck happen to them, and our dear crane has an idea now. It started one day like all the others, pigeons perched on power lines, babies with mothers. When one mother, fixed on her screen, had to quickly look up thinking, "What's that bizarre screen?" "Viva la revolution!" Fontaine the pigeon cried. And then the poop rained down from the sky. From the French Quarter and all the way down the streetcar line, one single clean screen you could not find. For every time someone looked down, a glob of bird poop took their phone to the ground. Afterward, people paused and took a big breath. Hey, I think these birds want us to give these phones a rest. It was then the people all suddenly realized they had been staring at phones instead of living their lives. They had forgotten the water, the land, the air, and the birds. They had forgotten their voices, forgotten their words. They had forgotten each other, and that was just absurd. Now, let's give thanks to the birds, and when you are outside, keep your phone in your pocket and your eyes up and wide.
Yay. Thank you, Britt.
You're very welcome. And just a small announcement, when the book comes out, April 30th, we were also working with a local country band down here, and we will also have a song to accompany it, because it's quite lyrical when it gets some music with it. And
that's exciting, Britt.
Second time I've ever read it publicly. We read it yesterday at a Kiwanis meeting and today on Zoom with you guys. So thank you so much for the love.
It's amazing, and it's quite a feast for the eyes, and we're excited to see it soar into the world in just a couple of weeks. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I hope it inspires a conversation about how screen use changes how we communicate, and hopefully a good poop joke is just the Trojan horse we need to have the tough conversation around cell phone use.
Well, we know kids love poop, so I think it's a winner.
It's an Alfred Hitchcock parody set for our time.
Thanks, Britt. All right, so just a couple things more. So please jot down this URL here, and I think Grace or Sarah is going to plop it in the chat. No pun intended. I'm still on lookup. So that URL is a living, breathing document where Grace and Sarah are constantly collecting very detailed story time ideas that they have done in the past, that they learn from librarians when they're talking to them or visiting with their library on the daily. Sorry, that's my refrigerator, which makes really weird noise sometimes. And hopefully we'll also add some best practices that we learned from all of you today, but it is for you to go to at any time. But just a couple other things that, we couldn't get into the nitty gritty in a 40-minute webinar. So just please take that down and bookmark it. But a couple of things we did want to talk about today are here on the screen. And I think Grace wanted to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the story times that I always liked doing, you get into the routine of your story times, you do similar themes. One that always kind of shook it up for me, and maybe you haven't done in a while, and you might say, oh, that might be good, is a bedtime story time. There's so many different things you can do with this, and we do have the URL, which has some more details about it. But I always loved using it, especially if you can have your kids wear their pajamas, especially if they can bring a stuffed animal, have a few on hand if someone forgets, of course. But I always used to love doing, some story time, some books that would kind of wind them down for the day, maybe a little parachute toss with the stuffed animals on it. That was always a big hit. I'd do that towards the beginning. And then as we kind of wound down through the story time and read some repetitive books, maybe had a felt board that had animal heads on it, you could say, oh, can you yawn like a lion? Can you yawn like a bear? Yawning a lot of times is definitely going to settle those kids right down. So I always loved doing that as an activity. Having them rock their stuffed animals to sleep with Twinkle Twinkle or Rockabye Baby, the book by Jane Cabrera. That was always a great one. And I also really loved incorporating some yoga breath as well. I would do like a candle breath, big deep breath in, and then you blow out your candle. Which really calmed them down. So that was one of my favorites that I wanted to share with you. And again, that'll be in the URL with some more ideas for you that might be helpful.
Sarah?
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about STEAM. I know it can be still intimidating to some people. We have a lot of English major type people, I think, are attracted to libraries. I was a communications major, so theater major. sometimes STEAM can be intimidating, but we do have help for you through our Boundless Kids and Teens platform. So what Boundless Kids and Teens is it's an ecosystem of books and videos and video books that you would have access to if you purchase the bundle. One of the great things that's in there are our Checkers Library TV episodes and science experiments. So there is help for you without having to feel like, science is this big, scary thing. You can use some of the videos from Checkers, which is great. And I see Amanda says STEAM is her jam, which is great. I love it whenever, you can incorporate STEAM into story times, and it can be a lot of fun.
Somebody at PLA told me I forget the book name, but I know that there's a lot of books that this could work for. They're doing a fun science experiment story time this summer with a book, and then in tandem they're asking all the families to bring fresh, new, never used tighty-whitey underwear, and they're going to bury them in the library backyard and then check it out at a future story time 6 weeks later to see if the worms have decomposed the underwear. So it doesn't always have to be beakers and I guess I'm just still on the potty humor, but that's STEAM too. So anyway, thanks, Sarah. Passing the mic back to Grace.
Yeah. Another one I used to do that I really absolutely loved, and it was always such a hit, was for about 1 to 3 year olds, 2 to 3 year olds I called it Little Movers. And when I was doing some work on putting together the resources, I found out New York Public Library does Little Movers story time now too. But it's basically a story time where kids don't have to sit still and they don't need to sit down. So every book that you read absolutely invites kids to interact and to act out. You can do We're Going on a Bear Hunt by Michael Rosen, have them act it out, have them repeat with you, that call and response. We love that. In story times, have the parents join in too. Kangaroo Hops. It's another wonderful book that you can have and encourage the kids to act out with you. Press Here, I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, having the kids come right up to you and pressing on the book, helping you shake the book. All the different activities you do with that is fantastic. If you have a lot of kids, you might be swarmed with kids and it might take a long time to get through that book, speaking from experience. And then again, I always love using yoga in story times because I did the child light yoga training, which was fantastic and so much fun. But having those yoga poses incorporated into your story time with the kids and involving the parents and caregivers with that too. You Are a Lion by Tae-Yeon Yu is a great one. And then of course you have all of your activities, your sit down, stand up song, your Goldfish song by Lori Berkner, egg shakers, scarves, anything you can do to further have the kids moving around is always fantastic. So if anyone wants to talk Little Movers anytime, would love to chat about it. It was one of my favorites.
Something I thought would be super fun was hide and seek story time. So we know a lot of really fun characters from picture books also have plush. Sarah was talking about Checkers Library TV as part of Boundless. They have a plush for their main character, Snoozer. That's who's there in the picture. And so an idea I've seen some libraries do, they do it here at my local library, is they'll read the book and then have a fun hide and seek, find the plush toy. Something that we've been talking about on the CATS team is trying to figure out a way to make story walk kits available to libraries. If you're not familiar, I know many of you probably do them. Story walks are something that many libraries do in tandem with their local parks and recreation department, et cetera, where they will either work with the publisher to get the rights to blow up spreads from a book, or they'll purchase copies of a book to then unfortunately tear apart and then make them available and page by page in a walking experience for families. And these are really fun during springtime, summer, fall, when there's great weather, unless you're out there in somewhere where it's beautiful all year round. And we at Baker and Taylor are trying, the CATS team is trying to survey whether this is something, if we were to find a way to make it easy source this type of thing if it was something that would interest you. So at the end, we do have that survey I had mentioned, and that was one of the questions on there. But regardless of whether we do end up doing that, it is a really fun idea to make story time a little bit more interactive for your community. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time because this was a 45-minute webinar. So please know a lot of this other stuff, we're going to make sure that URL is as comprehensive as possible. And I'll just say, I'm going to move on down to the Think Outside the Box. We need a book. And Grace is going to talk a little bit about the first bullet, and I will talk about the second.
Absolutely. So while we realize no one's going to press play on a book during story time, we do have a partnership with Vox Books, and we're going to be the distributor for Vox Books going forward. This might be a really good way to incorporate into your story times. When you read a book in your story time, you can then point folks to the Vox book that they can check out and take home. And as we all know, parents and caregivers read a book over and over and over and over. Sometimes you might just want to hit play on that for your child so they can read the book and have some independent time as well, but still hear a book read to them. So that might be a good way to incorporate your story time right into bringing that story time home.
Thanks, Grace. And this is brand new information, everyone. We just this partnership was just announced a little over a week ago that beginning May 1st, B&T will be the exclusive distributor of Vox, which are, of course, the hardcover storybooks that have the audio recording built into them, in case you weren't familiar. So just wanted to make sure everyone knew about that, since it was sort of in that realm of picture book story time while we were all together here today. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about and just touch on briefly, in the spirit of how to increase engagement and foot traffic at your library, perhaps get more folks in for your story times, or meet them where they are in the community and show them that story time can happen everywhere, including at your library. We have this really cool service that has been embraced by many libraries around the country, including Boston Public Library, Broward County, et cetera, called Pop-Up Library, Pop-Up Library, which basically gives you the opportunity to put a collection of picture books or whatever you'd like onto an ether, into a cloud, and into a digital collection on a cloud, and then bring that to your patrons in the community, or even folks who don't yet have a library card or have set foot in the library in years, and bring them books where they are. So whether that's the community pool in the summer, or the pediatrics office, or the daycares, et cetera, the community park, there's prompting for community members to check out a book where they're at without a library card on behalf of their public library. And there's messaging to them, reminding them to go into the library and enjoy it, get a library card, spend some time there. So just wanted to share this with you in case you were thinking about a fun way to, spread the message about your robust storytime program or your summer reading programs with your community. And if you want more information, please let us know. Grace and Sara and I are also going to hang out after this is done, in case anybody has any more questions, especially about the ones that we skipped over. But I wanted to give our last reader, the lovely librarian Juliana Gaddis, an opportunity to read Minivan Mix-Up, and then we have one last POS slide, and then we're gonna end our webinar. So Juliana is the author of Minivan Mix-Up. Juliana, take it away.
Well, hello, library friends. I'm so happy to be here with you today and get to share my first picture book, Minivan Mix-Up, with you. It was published by Paw Prints Publishing, and it was illustrated by the amazing John Joseph, who some of you may know his work from his taking over the Little Blue Truck series after the original illustrator passed away back in 2017. So all the Little Blue Truck titles since then have been his work. And it's just so very cool. I'm actually going to have a little help today. If any of you guys want to use this book in your own library story time, and I myself am a librarian. I'm actually at the library where I work right now. I got this, I believe, from Target, but it's Batot, and it is a toy key set that has different buttons on it. And it has the handy unlocking sound. So you'll hear that throughout the story. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. And Bobbie has the spreads to show you. Minivan Mix-Up by me, Juliana Gaddis, and art by John Joseph. I dedicated it to Jim and Jameson. My life with you is my favorite story. That's my husband and my son. Okay. Hey, my loves, we've got lots to do. Let's start by picking up some yummy food. Okay, rock stars, we've got lots to do. Let's start by picking up some delicious food. Grocery shopping is so much fun. We shop fast and zoom past everyone. Grocery shopping is so much fun. We fill the cart and speed past everyone. And look at what those babies are doing. I call them the cheeky babies. Those cheeky babies. Uh-oh, they say, as those key fobs change hands. Now, where did I park the car? Let's see. Right. There we are. Okay, where did I park that car? Right. Here we are. Uh-oh. She does not have the toy she thought she had. And neither does he. Heading home? It's a good day for the park. Dad will meet us. Let's go play. We'll all clap and yell, hooray! Library was next, but first, how about the park? Let's get a move on before it gets dark. And I love how John Joseph has number one grandpa on the t-shirt of the grandfather who is hugging his baby. Lots of wordless spreads in this book. So much of the story is told through the art. So, John Joseph's masterful illustrations really help keep the story moving forward. And the text was kept minimal intentionally. So here we've got both families pulling up to the park. Hey, we say, I saw you at the store. Want to go play? Hi there. Nice car, says the one mom. Spreading out the blankets and putting both babies down. Hi, they say to each other, and a new friendship is born. Showed up, Dad with the picnic basket. Everyone's having a great time. This was fun. We'll have to meet up another day. A play date is just a text away. Oh, and look at what those cheeky babies are doing. They've got the keys out. They're swapping them back. They say, get in their car. She's reunited with her favorite fuzzy friend. I love that we made new friends. How about the library now? Before the day ends. You get in theirs. And you gotta love the bumper sticker. I don't know if you guys can see that, but love books. I need that bumper sticker from the car. Pulling into the library's parking lot. Can you guys see that row of vehicles parked there? Oh, he says.
It's going to happen again.
It's going to happen again. Or it could happen again. So Good job listening, everybody. Give yourself a clap.
Thank you, Juliana. You should use the key fob. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, everyone. Grace is just going to wrap things up with some PSAs for you, and then we're going to show you that survey link, and we're going to stick around after the fact in case anyone has any extra questions. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, just really quick at the end here. If you're looking for event kits, activity sheets for the library, we talk to our publishers all the time, and we constantly have things like this that we can pass along to you. So just, again, get in touch with Sara. And I know I've said that a lot of times, but let us know what you need, because a lot of times we have the things you're looking for. And now that we have our own publishing imprint, it is really easy for us to book virtual author visits with authors if you're interested in that. Complimentary author visits. So again, just get in touch with us. And the other thing I wanted to mention is if you're looking to do a story time where you have books that you want parents and caregivers to have in their lap with their child there so they can see pictures up close, maybe for an infant lap sit story time, you might want to look at our summer prize book program. It can be used for any giveaways. So you can have those multiple copies of that book on the laps of all the parents and caregivers. Those can go home with them. If it's something you'd like to do over and over and you'd like to keep those books at the library, we can talk to you about our lease program so you can use them until you don't want them anymore and send them back to us. If you need summer prize books in general, again, let Sara and I know. These lists that we have are available for any giveaways you'd like to do, whether it's summer reading or anything else. And lastly, if you want to stay in touch with us and see more webinars like this or talk to us about anything else, make sure you're up to date on what's happening. You can visit our CATS website and sign up for our CATS Meow newsletter for new ideas. We send it out every month. All kinds of good information in there, all of a bunch of supplemental materials, activity sheets, all kinds of things on there, author interviews, you name it. We talk about it in the CATS Meow. Thank you so much, Bobbie.
Yeah, Grace. And something new I think we want to do with the CATS Meow is we used to do something called Cats in the Wild, which was really popular. And I think over COVID, it kind of just kind of faded out, but we want to bring it back. And that's basically if you email us a little tidbit on, a really successful best practice or a program or something you're doing at the library that you think is working really well and you want to share it with other librarians. We have a segment called Cats in the Wild, and basically we'll post a picture and say, so-and-so from so-and-so library is doing this. And it's just, it's a great way to keep, the professional development and success sharing, constant and ongoing. And obviously it gives a little bit of limelight and spotlight to your library, which is, you're already doing so many wonderful things. Why not get a little bit of time in the sun for that? So this is where you can scan the QR code or jot down the URL. Again, it's a very, it's not obligatory, obviously, but we would love to hear from you on, on anything we can do from either a selection list or, material standpoint to help support your Storytime programs. If you have a success story, again, that you would like us to put in the Meow or share with other librarians in that ongoing document that we posted, this is your chance to put that in the survey as well. There is a question about big books and story walk kits and whether that's something that interests you if we're able to source them. So it's a very brief survey, again, giving you the opportunity to ask for support or share thoughts and ideas and best practices. And everyone who fills out the survey will receive a look up pop socket and a minivan mix-up keychain, and a few raffle winners from the lot that do the survey will receive a gift basket from Vox Books and some signed picture books from Candlewick and Holiday House, our friends from Candlewick and Holiday House, who are very kind to make that available to you. And we're going to be taking survey. We're going to be picking the winners at the end of April. So you have a couple of weeks to fill that out. Again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We hope that this was informative and you learned about some new books and some new ideas. And again, we really look forward to hearing from you and learning how we can best support you. Again, here's our contact information. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your week, everybody.